Celebrity fandoms, groups that are formed on social media and revolve around the love for a singer, actor, or even a politician.
This is a big, big, beautiful crowd.
Taylor Swift fans, or Swifties, are some of the most devoted out there.
She's like the big sister that I never had in some ways.
And their online community certainly has strength in numbers.
Suddenly, everything I'd been tweeting into the void was being connected with all these Swifties on Twitter, and so I was connected into the fandom, I was making friends.
But can the social media tactics used by dedicated fans impact the real world?
I did not think that being a Swiftie would lead me to political organizing, but it kind of makes a lot of sense. Again, Taylor has taught us to be fearless and speak now.
And can the level of devotion fandoms inspire exist without trolling and hate?
People feel very emboldened by the veil of anonymity that comes with the ability to create an online profile that doesn't feature your photo or your real name.
I want to figure out if Swifties can shape America. It's likely even if you don't identify as a Swiftie, you'll know at least a little about Taylor Swift. Originally a country singer from Pennsylvania, she's now a global megastar and has a dedicated army of superfans. I'm in New York to meet some of them and learn more about the communities online who are devoted to all things Taylor.
So I've been a Swiftie since she first came out with Tim McGraw. My friend sent me the song, I think I was 15. So I have Taylor bits kind of all over the place.
This is Margaret. She's 33 and a self-confessed mega fan.
She was the only person around my age at the time writing very, very relatable music, and I loved her since day one. And throughout my life, she's just always been like a half step ahead. So she's like the big sister that I never had in some ways.
Explain the anatomy of the Swiftie fandom to someone who's never encountered it before. It's like, how does it work?
I think the Swiftie fandom is really broad in a way that people don't think that it is. I mean, I'm going to my next Eras Tour show with my 69-year-old mother. It really is just kind of everyone, and I think a lot of times people look at it as a bunch of little girls, and it's not. And even if it were, that's great. Little girls are our future.
A major part of the Swiftie fandom, and any fandom really, is the online community it builds.
I'm kind of a yapper, so just yapped away on Twitter and made all these friends, and it was great.
Talk to me a little bit about some of the kind of like lore and codes of like the Swiftie world. It's almost like another language for people to learn.
It is. At the show, there are a lot of things that people do. So they scream 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch, during delicate. 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. They do the clap, clap. They do the hand heart during Fearless. There are also a lot of just like in-jokes in the fandom online. It's fun. I think that people who follow Taylor Swift and are fans of hers really create community around some of these things, but it also really helps boost her career because it creates these essentially brand evangelists who are like, okay, well, we do this and we do this and we do this, and if you're gonna be a Swiftie, you need to know all of these things.
Thank you so much.
We're joined at Margaret's apartment by Irene. She's been following Taylor's career since she was 11, but it was X, then Twitter, that brought her into the inner sanctum of the fandom. That's how she knows Margaret, but they had never met before in person until now.
I first became a fan of Taylor around 2006 after hearing Teardrops on My Guitar on the radio.
Tell me about when you first started posting on social media about Taylor.
I actually remember in high school, one of my friends unfollowed me because I would tweet too many of her lyrics, but I actually wasn't connected to the fandom until probably around Folklore or just before. So suddenly everything I'd been tweeting into the void was being connected with all these Swifties on Twitter, and so I was connected into the fandom, I was making friends and people were following me back, and I was making all these mutuals, and so it was really fun.
How much time do you spend on Twitter X posting about Taylor Swift?
Definitely too much time. My screen time on any given day ranges, you look very alarmed. My screen time on any given day generally ranges from like 10 to 14 hours on a bad day. But it really depends on what's going on in the Taylor Swift universe.
Irene has more than 45,000 followers across her social media profiles, most of whom are fellow Swifties. She's made friends online that she talks to more than her own family. I'm keen to find out more about what unifies the fandom.
People are really supportive of each other. People talk to each other. People know about each other's lives, which I think is so cute. Like, people meet up in person. Like I just met Irene for the first time. I have a friend coming out in October to run a marathon with me.
The Swiftie universe provides a community and sense of purpose for a lot of people. But fandoms do have a dark side. Sending hate online to anyone who attacks your idol can be seen as justified.
It's basically a rite of passage for every Swiftie, or I think anyone in an online fandom. Ideally, you would learn from that and you learn to take a step back and realize, oh, this is not something you necessarily need to be so heavily participating in, and you can kind of let it go. I understand why Swifties get accused of being trolls, and I think it's a fair accusation. Something I personally get frustrated with is this idea that, you know, one extreme comment made by someone reflects the entire fandom. I think things do tend to get blown out of proportion.
While I see abusive behavior from fans, and that's never acceptable, I do think sometimes it's coming from a place of just exasperation, exhaustion, and being really sick of seeing that kind of narrative around somebody who, for many of us, has really impacted our lives in a very positive way.
Taylor Swift has faced her own social media fallouts. In 2016, she disappeared from public life for a year after an online feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West led to mass trolling. And at the beginning of 2024, X had to disable searches on her name after deepfake pornographic images spread rapidly on the site. It was some Swifties who mobilised and mass reported the images to get them taken down.
Do you think a fandom can ever exist without kind of online hate or abuse or heated arguments?
No, I don't think it's possible. People feel very emboldened by the veil of anonymity that comes with the ability to create an online profile that doesn't feature your photo or your real name. So people kind of like dig into their darkest selves. But I do think within Taylor's fandom, there's a lot of self-regulation. Taylor's fans, if they see someone being abusive, a lot of times will say, hey, that's not cool.
The Swiftie community, along with Taylor Swift herself, seem a pretty powerful bunch on social media. And with great power comes great responsibility.
I think it's complicated because the fandom is obviously a large group, and any large group is going to have influence on things like political issues. I think it's natural that we care because large as a group, I would like to think we share a lot of similar moral values, political values even. And so I think that's why you'll see a lot of that, especially lately, coming out because we're drawn not only to Taylor for a reason, but I think to each other as a community for a reason.
Up until 2018, Taylor Swift had never spoken out about her political views, but that all changed after she posted an endorsement for a Democratic Senate candidate. This was the response from the then president.
Let's say that I like Taylor speaking about 25%.
And during the 2020 presidential election, she came out in support of Joe Biden. But as I'm talking to Irene and Margaret in the summer of 2024, it's still unclear whether Taylor would be endorsing a candidate.
It gets frustrating, I think, to feel like there's this idea that Taylor Swift or just Swifties can fix everything, because at the end of the day, like, we're not a monolith, and also we are just people. And so, especially when it comes to politics, things are very complicated. I think in terms of bringing awareness to important causes or raising money, those are two things we as a group are very good at doing.
But then there was a major change in the election race, and that really put the possible impact of the Swifties to the test.
Breaking news from the United States, where President Joe Biden has said that he is going to stand down from the presidential race and not seek re-election to the White House in November.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
It's August 2024, and Irene is in London to catch the sold-out European leg of the Eras Tour.
Sure. Can I get red?
We catch up with her in between trading friendship bracelets with fellow fans.
It's one of my favorite memes. It's the Taylor Mirrorball meme. I added some stars to jazz it up a bit.
Since we last spoke, she's co-founded Swifties for Kamala, a big group of Taylor Swift fans who are supporting the Democratic nominee.
So a lot has happened, obviously. New presidential candidate, which is very exciting for us. Swifties for Kamala has formed, and we also connected with the official Harris campaign to learn how we could both best support each other, so that's been really exciting.
Of course, there are some Swifties who are planning on voting Republican.
We don't speak for every Swiftie, we are just a corner of the fandom, but so many people wanted to help that we put together a group. I never imagined that listening to Taylor Swift in 2006 when I was maybe like 12 years old, having crushes and thinking that was life and death, meant I would be standing here having an interview with you outside Wembley Stadium talking about organizing for Kamala Harris. Absolutely not. This is a really great community with a lot of really intelligent people who are lawyers, doctors. I think that's the number one thing about Swifties is there's so much passion because we really care and also hyperfixate. So the way we organize around a ticket sale or getting merch and supporting Taylor, we are now organizing around supporting Kamala Harris.
The campaign encourages Swifties who are getting involved not to send out hate or abuse so they can reach new voters.
As a group, we have guidelines and a code of conduct, but the general gist of it is that we are not engaging with hate, we are not spreading hate, and we are maintaining an attitude of positivity, the way we interact as a group and also the way we interact online.
They've amassed tens of thousands of followers and views across social media. Not just posting jokey videos.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
But voting and volunteering information, and even selling merch.
I'll do it right now, I'm so sorry.
Margaret is also at Wembley for the concert.
I didn't know that the fandom would be that powerful before because I thought that our options were so bad that there was not really anything that we could do. And now I think that we have a lot more ability to sway things. It's exciting. I think it's great that people are taking it upon themselves, not necessarily waiting for Taylor to make a political statement.
As the summer came to an end, the call for a Swift endorsement became louder and louder, especially online, and some fans were pretty unhappy with her. There was uproar from some of them when she was photographed with someone they suspected to be a Trump supporter, and confusion when she didn't immediately respond to this Donald Trump post that contained an AI-generated image of her supporting him. Some Swifties were beginning to think that Taylor had decided to sit this election out. That's until
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Moments after the presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, there was an announcement on Instagram.
Well, people around the world have been reacting to that debate, including the influential billionaire pop star Taylor Swift, who has now pledged her support for Kamala Harris.
She explained that Donald Trump's AI post made it clear to her that she had to be very transparent about her voting plans, saying, "I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them." It was signed off childless cat lady, a reference to resurfaced comments made by J.D. Vance.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Taylor famously loves cats and doesn't have any kids. The Harris Walls campaign quickly jumped on the endorsement.
Surround yourself with smart women and listen to them, and you'll do just fine. That includes my fellow cat owner, Taylor Swift, too, by the way. It's really great to have all of these women help us beat the smallest man in the world, Donald Trump.
But not everyone was so pleased to hear of the news.
Hi Irene, how are you?
I was eager to get Irene's reaction.
I was a bit surprised. Obviously, we weren't anticipating it as early. I think a lot of us were expecting it to happen later on with her to just encourage people to get out and vote. But I really like that she did it this way because I think it was done to really encourage people to take a look at what was said during the debate and also look at both candidates' policies and make it really clear that she wasn't telling people how to vote, but that she was voting a certain way because of what was said during the debate. And she wanted everyone to also do their own research and vote from a place of their own research and understanding.
What did you make of the childless cat lady sign off?
I love that sign off. I love that she referenced the childless cat lady's comment. I think we're living in an age where women are kind of vilified for being single and daring to enjoy their life. I think she's such a great example of someone who's living her own life and has a successful career. So I love that she referenced that.
You get sent this post. She's done it. It's happened. Tell me about that night. Like, did you go to bed?
Oh my God. I mean, I went to bed eventually, but it was basically pure chaos for a couple of hours. And I think that was really great about the endorsement was that she just really re-energized this movement. And that's really important in something like this.
And while there are questions about what impact celebrity endorsements can actually have, it strikes me that what could be most valuable to the Harris campaign is this ready-made social media army producing content and organising activists.
We have designed a mailer to go out to voters in Pennsylvania that will encourage people to vote. And if they pledge to vote for Kamala Harris, they get a friendship bracelet. So just kind of continuing to incorporate our fandom culture.
Do you guys organise all of that just on your own?
That was we have a bracelets coordinator, Alexa, who's amazing.
Bracelet coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh.
Irene even got a chance to meet the vice president.
What was it like meeting Kamala Harris? Where was it? Tell me.
It was really, really cool meeting Kamala Harris in person. She's very tiny and smells amazing. Things that don't get talked about enough because it would be weird, but I'm going to be weird and say it. Her eyes twinkle in person. I felt very parasocial. It felt like when you see Taylor on stage at the Eras tour, that's how it felt meeting Kamala Harris. Because it was like, oh my God, here's this person I see like on TV and on posters. Now she's there. But she was so kind, and I got to give her a bracelet that said presidential era. So that was really special for me, and I have some very blurry selfies to prove it. There's one not blurry.
It was good. I thought the picture was really good. I saw it.
Thank you.
Donald Trump's own supporters operate a bit like a fandom too.
Let's go Trump! Woo!
Making their own content that can reach millions of people on social media. In what looks to be a very closely fought election, it's these groups of online supporters who could reach and activate those extra voters that make the difference. After all, it's social media's world, and the election's just living in it.